Hey, Johnny, how are you today, sir?
Doing well. How you doing, Mike?
Good. I'm doing great because, I just got back from a cruise. So that was always fun. My wife and I celebrated 35 years of marriage and took a cruise out of Miami, and it was lots of fun. You ever been on a cruise?
Two of them.
Okay.
Our honeymoon, and then we got to go on another one regarding a kind of a work type thing that
Sure.
we went on. My wife doesn't like him anymore, so
Okay.
as the second one we went on, it got really bad storms, and
Yeah.
that was over.
I
So
get it.
no more
I
cruise.
get it. No, I know ours was a little blustery, as Winnie the Pooh would say. And my wife we think she got seasickness, but it only caused her to get tired. She didn't have any sickness. She was just tired. And we think it was seasickness. We don't know. But anyway, no, I get it. I think my wife wants to take a short cruise next time, maybe to the Bahamas or something,
We
just a
did
couple
do
days.
After that one, we did do a riverboat cruise through Europe down the Rhine
Okay.
River.
Yeah.
It's still on. It's not as huge as a cruise ship, but it's you still sleep on it. They got the restaurants and all that. Oh,
Huh.
that was different.
Okay.
That was really cool. She liked that, but the ocean stuff,
Yeah.
I think we're over for that.
You're over for that. That's okay. That's okay. Well, one of the things, as you know, being a guy who's taking cruises is, before they let us leave, we went out of Miami. And they got all 3,000 of us on or whatever. But before we could get out of port, we had to go do the safety thing. And we had to watch this video and go check in because you know what every cruise ship mandated has to have on it are these lifeboats, right? Because they went all the way back to the Titanic, and that was really the issue with the Titanic. The big deal wasn't that it sunk. Well, that was a big deal, but it didn't have enough lifeboats for everybody, and that
Exactly.
was the deal. So before you can depart from port from wherever you are, the port, I guess it is, you've got to go through and you got to make sure you understand lifeboats and where you're going to go if something should happen and all that. And it got me thinking that in retirement planning, you kind of have some lifeboats that we need to be thinking about in retirement, right? Isn't there some kind of correlation between that?
Oh, especially it's a huge part. It's actually part of the book I wrote. There's a chapter on it, kind of going over that whole concept. But especially in our current environment, I think, with the tariff thing going, whether you agree or don't agree, that's not the issue I want to talk about today. But the issue is um, things like that happen, whether it's from domestic policy or foreign situations that arise that affect us. And we talk about this in our seminar classes all the time and being prepared for those things. Now, when the tariff thing first started, I'd see people on the news or articles or some different podcasts where people will call in, regular folks, and they'd say, I'm retired and now I'm going to not be able to, I might have to go back to work or I might have to do this or that because I'm losing so much of my accounts. And the thought process I'm thinking is, man, if they would have had that simple concept that we try to teach as lifeboats as part of their portfolio to protect some of that retirement, a big chunk of it, from these type of domestic or global uncertainties. And every time I heard that, I'm thinking, man, what financial person was advising them?
Mm-hmm.
Just to have all their money in the market or even have it, we used to the 60-40 bond split with stocks and all that. Guess what? The bonds were going down too. Remember, that's a few
Mm-hmm.
weeks ago during the tariff thing. That's really what got a lot of people freaked out is, yeah, the market went down, but then they noticed, well, the bonds are going down. So two things going down at one time. So having alternatives to keep a part of your portfolio safe in, like we're talking about in the example of lifeboats,
Yeah.
say, hey, yeah, I've got some over here that could be risky, but it's not going to make it so I have to go back to work. It's still going to
Right.
make it so I'm going to have the income I need to live the life I want to live, leave money to my grandkids, whatever it may be. When we see things like what just happened and we're still kind of going through
Yeah.
volatility, when we see all those things happen, we don't have to be so worried about it.
Yeah.
So if you're sitting there and you're like, wow, I am noticed that I my financial person's never told me about maybe having a little bit extra protection. And I'm not just talking stocks and bonds, I'm talking other things. There's like fixed index annuities, which are great bond alternatives that
Yeah.
can protect your money and still have growth. And we've talked about those in the past. So looking at some of those things as lifeboats um, is a huge part of the mental part of retirement now that I hope more and more people are realizing. And a lot of people do. It's a billions and billions of dollars are put into those type of things every single year, fixed index annuities.
Yep.
Somebody's talking about the right things to clients and that kind of thing and letting them know exactly things like this can happen. Exactly things like COVID can happen.
Yeah.
Those things can happen. And unless we prepare for those, learn from history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Learn from history about what can happen now going into the future. And a lot of people don't. They just listen
Yeah.
to a financial person. Oh, everything's going great. And I don't mean to keep going on about this, but I've had people say, yeah, my financial persons, they've done really well for me. Well, everybody's done really well for everybody.
That's right.
The last 10 years, the market's just about doubled.
Wow.
Okay. Go back 10 years ago. Look where the Dow was compared to now. It's about 100% in. That's crazy. So, what's that like? It's like if you went to Golden Corral Buffet and you ate there 10 years in a row, eventually, chances are you're going to be sick from diabetes, high blood pressure, and a few other things going on. Right. And that's how
Right.
Americans financially live. We got so used to just markets are so great. Oh, and just get that greediness and just keep stuffing our faces thinking that anything can ever happen. And it will happen. And that
It will.
mentality will catch up to people unless they're protected. You got to leave the buffet sometimes and get back to say, okay, I need to eat better at certain points to have longevity in my life and longevity in my finances.
Right. No, and
That's
it's
having
so
those
important.
lifeboats.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the fact that when these storms come in life, they're unpredictable. They just happen, and they shouldn't be unexpected though, because we know they're going to happen. But when I was on that cruise ship, as Jill and I were walking around and things, these lifeboats are not little dinky blow up things anymore. I don't know if the last time you were on a cruise, dude, but they fit 350 people in a lifeboat now. These
Right.
massive machines, they look like submarines. They got motors on them and things. But, it didn't hit me until just now. When I saw those, it gave me peace of mind and comfort, knowing that if something should weird happen, and the we'd have to deploy into lifeboats, the cruise line has already taken all of the precautions necessary, and they know the plans and they have everything in place to assure my safety. And that's really what you're talking about here with retirement lifeboats is we know the storms of life are coming, whether it's inflation or taxes or COVID or something else, it's coming. Are you protected? Do you have these lifeboats in place so that when that storm comes, you're protected? Is that a good summary of what you're trying to communicate?
Oh, I mean, it absolutely is because once again, we've learned from history. So now those ships that have those type of lifeboats have been built because of things that have happened in the past, right? We learn from history to try and do better at protection and safety for people. 40 years ago, there was no airbags in cars. You know what
Right.
I mean?
That's
But then I
right.
realized, hey, there's something we can do here to maybe protect more people, keep them a little safer along those kind of, so they have a better chance of surviving.
Yeah.
Would make these lifeboats bigger, more powerful, almost like small little ships, right?
They really are.
People can survive, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So financially looking around and saying, man, it isn't just sun and fun every single day forever. Eventually a storm's going to come.
Yeah.
Once again, Americans financially in the last 10 years, especially close to retirees, have just been sun and fun is going to last forever. It doesn't.
It
There's
doesn't.
always a storm that's going to come. Learn from history.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We go to Sanibel Island, Florida. We actually go in the summer because that's when we go, so it's really hot. But like clockwork, almost every day off the Gulf, about 2 or 3 in the afternoon, here comes a storm that it looks like it's going to be the worst storm ever. It blows in, and 45 minutes later, it's gone. But we know it's coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be there, and so it's just like clockwork. And the same thing, really, historically with money is, man, that like clockwork, things are going to happen,
Yeah.
sometimes unexpectedly, and we got to be prepared for that. We can't just sit
Hmm.
there and think like everything's always going to be this way. Because if you're
Right.
in retirement, you're drawing money out of your accounts, and one of those storms happened, whether it was a tariff situation, it was a COVID situation, it was a war overseas, a tax policy in the United States, who knows whatever it may be.
Yeah,
Inflation gets too high. When those things happen, if you don't have some of your portfolio protected, it's very unwise to do that. It
yeah,
just, regardless of what financial people always say, just ride it out. You cannot make up that money
that's
if
right.
you're at a certain age and you're still withdrawing funds for retirement. Can't take
That's
money
right.
out and lose it at the same time and expect it to last the rest of your life at that point. So,
That's right. I was just sitting here thinking, man, if a ship company, cruise line, created a ship, built a brand new ship, and they said, yeah, don't do the lifeboat thing. That costs too much money. They probably put $1 million or $2 million just in the lifeboats. I'm guessing. I don't know, but if they, yeah, just forget the lifeboats. And then they try to market that cruise. I bet nobody's buying because I'm not taking a cruise that doesn't have a lifeboat. So why would you go into retirement without a lifeboat? Right? And that's what Johnny, you
exactly.
you and your team help people create these retirement plans that have built-in lifeboats. And in the next couple of episodes of your podcast, we're going to be unpacking. Okay, we talk about lifeboats, that's great, but what are you talking about? And we're going to unpack two or three of these lifeboats that everybody really should have as part of their retirement plan. And if your advisor is not bringing lifeboats to the table, you probably shouldn't be buying because that's not a cruise you want to be on. And so it's going to be fun. I love this concept, and I know you wrote about it in your book, and people can go to your website and get a copy of your book. It's absolutely free at your website. And Johnny's Retire at New Heights is the name of your book. And they can go to retireatnewheights.com to get a free copy and read about these retirement lifeboats, along with a lot of other things that Johnny has in there. Because as you'll learn as you keep listening here, Johnny doesn't do a one size fits nobody, as my wife would say, retirement plan.
Mhm.
It's customized to you and your situation, and which lifeboats and how many lifeboats really depends on the size of your ship at one level. And so dive into Johnny's book, retireatnewheights.com is where you can get it. And then make sure you listen to the next few episodes because we're going to be talking about these lifeboats that you need to have in retirement. So Johnny, thanks for a fun conversation around retirement lifeboats.
You too, Mike. Man, I'll see you soon. Thank
Look
you.
forward to it. All right.